Today we talk about periodic orbits in restricted three-body problem. So I have chosen two great people to introduce. George David Birkhoff. George David Birkhoff, March 21, 1984 to November 12, 1944, was an American mathematician best known for what is now called the ergodic theorem. Birkhoff was one of the most important leaders in American mathematics in his generation. He was born in Overseer Township, Michigan. The mathematician Garrett Birkhoff, many will be knowing to him, 1911 to 1996, was his son, another great mathematician. The George D. Birkhoff House, his residence in Cambridge, Massachusetts, has been designated a National Historic Landmark. Birkhoff obtained his AB and AM from Harvard University. He completed his PhD in 1907 on differential equations at the University of Chicago, while E.H. Moore was his supervisor. He was most influenced by the writing of Henry Poincare. After teaching at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, and Princeton University, he taught at Harvard from 1912 until his death. So all this material I have taken from Wikipedia. So thanks to Wikipedia. In 1923, he was awarded the inaugural Bosher Memorial Prize by the American Mathematical Society for his paper in 1917 containing, among other things, what is now called Birkhoff curve shortening process. He was elected to the National Academy of Sciences, the American Philosophical Society, the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, the Académie des Sciences in Paris, and Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and the London and Edinburgh Mathematical Societies. The George David Birkhoff Prize in Applied Mathematics is awarded jointly by the American Mathematical Society and the Society for Industrial and Applied Mathematics in his honor. He was Vice President of the American Mathematical Society in 1919, President of American Mathematical Society from 1925 and 1926, and Editor of Transactions of American Mathematical Society from 1920 to 24. In 1912, attempting to solve the four-color problem, Birkhoff introduced the chromatic polynomial. Even though this line of attack did not prove fruitful, the polynomial itself became an important object of study in algebraic graph theory. It's very important in graph theory. I had just had a look because I'm not knowing this thing, but I found that this has got a very, very important applications in graph theory. In 1913, so he proved Poincare's last geometric theorem, a special case of the three-body problem, a result that made him world famous. In 1927, he published his Dynamical Systems. He wrote on the foundations of relativity and quantum mechanics, published with R.E. Langer, the monograph Relativity and Modern Physics in 1923. In 1923, Birkhoff also proved that the child geometry is the unique spherically symmetric solution of the Einstein field equations. A consequence of that, black holes are not merely a mathematical curiosity, but could result from any spherical star having sufficient mass. Birkhoff's most durable result has been in 1931 discovery of what is now called ergodic theorem, combining insight from physics on the ergodic hypothesis with measure theory. This theorem solved, at least in principle, a fundamental problem of statistical mechanics. The ergodic theorem has also had repercussions for dynamics, probability theory, group theory, and functional analysis. He also worked on number theory, the Riemann-Hilbert problem, and the four-color problem. He proposed an approximation of Euclid geometry different from Hilbert's. His work culminated in his text Basic Geometry in 1941. Now I talk another great mathematician, Professor Danby. And I had a special attachment because he became my second supervisor and the final supervisor under whom I wrote the thesis. So John Michael Anthony, JMA Danby, he is also called Tony, born in London, England on 5th August 1929, obtained his BA and MA in mathematics at Oxford University, where his father served a Regius Professor of Hebrew, followed by a PhD in astronomy at Manchester University, entitled Some Problems in Cosmology and Stellar Dynamics. That was his thesis. And this material I have taken from the Bulletin of the American Astronomical Society. After his death, this was published there. So I got the opportunity to look into this. After serving as a musician, he had great interest in music. In the England's Royal Artillery, he joined the London Philharmonic Orchestra as first chair oboist. In addition to musical performance, he recorded for the BBC an oboe sonata dedicated to him by the composer Stephen Dodson. In 1957, Danby migrated to the US to take up a teaching position at the University of Minnesota. He also taught part-time at Macalester College in St. Paul, where he met his future wife, Phyllis. They were married in 1958. While at Minneapolis, he wrote his classic textbook, Fundamentals of Celestial Mechanics, which was published in 1962 by Macmillan and is still in print. A review by William Liller in Science, review in Science itself is a great thing, states that this clearly written book covers all the celestial mechanics with which every professional astronomer and senior space scientist should be acquainted. Danby subsequently joined the astronomy department at Yale University, which at the time included such notables in celestial mechanics as Dirk Brouwer, Morris Davis, Boris Garfinkel, Victor Zabeh, and during summer 1962, visiting scholar George Contopoulos. So there was a great place of learning the celestial mechanics and astronomy. While at Yale, Danby became a naturalized US citizen on 11th February 1965. 2 years later, he accepted a professorship in the mathematics department at North Carolina State University, where he remained until his retirement in 1998. Danby co-authored more than 40 research articles, plus another book, Astrophysics Simulations, published by Wiley in 1965, and designed to foster the application of computers to problems in astronomy. The software in the book won an excellent award from the journal Computers in Physics. Danby also developed and taught a course at NC State in computer modeling, which grew by the time of his retirement to an enrollment of 300 students per semester. It's a very big thing in USA that 300 people are studying the same subject. He received the university's Outstanding Teacher Award in 1979 and an Illumini Distinguished Professorship in 1987. In 1968, Danby served on the organizing committee involved in the creation of AAS Division on Dynamical Astronomy. And when this journal Celestial Mechanics was started, he was in the editorial committee of the journal. And I think from there only that concept of the Celestial Mechanics journal generated. A minor planet was named after him in recognition of his contributions to the study of celestial mechanics. Maintaining his passion for music, Denby directed the Wake County chapter of the North Carolina Symphony and founded the Raleigh Chamber Players. He was also actively involved in politics, serving as a Democratic Party precinct chairman for 4 years. Denby and his wife enjoyed cooking and hosting parties and fundraisers. He left this world on 8th December 2009 at the age of 80 years in Chester Peninsula. Now, let me tell you some of the few things I identified to tell you. Stability of triangular points in the elliptic restricted three-body problem. And this paper, this figure, right side figure, anybody who works in restricted three-body problem in stability must be familiar with this figure. You can see there, when on circular restricted three-body problem, we get the linearized the stability for when the critical mass value is 0.038. That means less than that, the linearized equations of motion will give you stability at the triangular points. But you can see here in elliptic restricted problem, when E is little higher, you can see right side, the curve here, this side, this becomes a stability zone. And he has calculated this. This graph is very difficult to reproduce also. It needs your great expertise of numerical calculations. And for generating this, he has taken help from another great person, Giasaglia. Giasaglia, because the last time I was talking about his work, and these two are happen to be the PhD examiners for Professor Bhatnagar. Both are there. So both these were there only at that time. He has guided him, or he must have given him some ideas, and he helped him to generate. This is very difficult. We tried to look into this, whether we can generate it. It was not so easy to generate this graph, because you have to have so many. I mean, you have to have a very, very sound programming knowledge. Then only this graph will come. I don't know if people know. People may be able to do, but he did it in 1964. At that time, when the computers were also not powerful. Whether they were there or not there, I don't know. So and you can see the references. Only his paper is there, and this is a celebrated, the volumes by Poincare, great mathematician. We will take up him also when I take up some more studies of mine, and then this paper, only one of the paper. This I wanted to tell you. So this paper is there. And then you see, we teach our students. He wrote a paper on the solution of Kepler equation. Kepler equation is such a wonderful equation. It is a transcendental equation. M is equal to E minus E sin E, where all great mathematicians, most of the great mathematicians, although those who know celestial mechanics, they have put their hand and they have published something. Some people, those who are not able to publish, maybe their names may not have come. But I have seen many. There is a book on this, 200 years of solution of the Kepler equation. So he gave this. He has given many first approximations, but this was very simple. You see, you can see signum sinem. Because if sine is first quadrant, second quadrant is positive, so this value will be positive. And 0.85 he has done with his experience. So when you want to get the first approximation, you can, because we have to. If you know E and small e, you can always calculate the mean anomaly. But if you know M, mean anomaly, and small e, then calculating is by iteration. So for the iteration, for getting the initial condition, he wrote this, and it works very well. 0.85 he has done with lot of experiment. I do not know how he got it, but this works very well. 0.85 and the eccentricity. And so if your mean anomaly is in the first quadrant or second quadrant, you take this positive sign. If it is in the third quadrant, fourth quadrant, then this will become, because sign will become negative there. So this sign will be negative. So that is how this initial condition works. It's a wonderful method, but of course his paper is very elaborate. There are a lot of other detailed, but for students we found this is a very, very easy to tell. So you can see here the paper which he did integration of equations of planetary motion in rectangular coordinates. This was the one where he used, see, you can see he is single author, and he has all his papers are highly mathematical and very detailed papers, not so easy even to understand also. The matrix methods for approximate solution of differential equations are applied to the development of general perturbations in rectangular coordinates. Working in rectangular coordinate is not very easy. The solution is obtained directly in the form of complementary function and particular integral. The possible role of the arbitrary constants is discussed. These appear ambiguously in the complementary function, the nature of which is known from the properties of Keplerian motion. So use the Keplerian motion. And formulation for the application of this method to the calculation of spatial perturbations are also included. So this is a wonderful paper which he wrote in 62. And that time this was the best journal, astronomical journal. Celestial Mechanics came only in 69, where all the top people started publishing there, those who were in Celestial Mechanics, and they were the people in editorial committee, editorial board and all. Throughout the world they taken the people. But before that, this astronomical journal coming from American Astronomical Society, it was the journal where all you will find the best papers will be available there. So then you see he wrote another paper, inclusion of extra forces in the problem of three bodies. And here he has given already ideas. It's a very complicated paper, not very easy to understand. But still I tell those who want to, they must have a look. And those who can understand, certainly they may come out with very good research. Still the paper is so good that people can still come out with good research with the help of this paper. In the general problem of three bodies, the only known solutions are those found by Lagrange. If the basic problem is slightly altered, then these solutions, even in modified form, in general cease to exist. The alterations considered in this paper involve the variation of basic laws of attraction. He has found some changing in the basic law of attraction, and some of the graphs, like like the here I am seeing some of the things are there when different force functions he has used, and allowing the non-sphericity of the one of the bodies, that also he has discussed. But of course it is difficult to make out what he was trying to do there. And the addition of a fourth body also he has taken, four body problem also, distant body. The possible existence of solution of the Lagrange type is considered, and where these exist, their stability considering is infinitesimal displacements only is investigated. So this paper yesterday I downloaded, they are all available. They were there earlier with me, but to search from my thing is difficult than downloading. So they were available, downloaded them, and I try to, it's not very easy. I mean, one has to really sincerely read them a few times and then understand. Then probably this paper still I feel may give very good problems to people who want to work. And the solution of Kepler's problem, this is one. Then two also he has done. Maybe that is for hyperbolic orbit, but here he has done lot of approximations he has discussed, and from there only I picked up that. And that approximation is in his book also. He has discussed in his book also that approximation, because book was also almost nearby he was writing. Of course, book he has written earlier, but this was there in 65 he has done it. So that means that that knowledge he already had earlier itself. While teaching he might have learned it. So these are the books which he has written. Fundamentals of Celestial Mechanics in 1962, Qualitative Methods in Celestial Mechanics in 71, Mathematical Astronomy Marcells Volume 1 97, and Computing Applications of Differential Equation Modeling JNB 85, and then Computer Modeling from Sports to Space Flight. This is also in 1997. So these are that is just he retired in 98, I think. Then just before that he has written that. So you can see at very young age, he was very young at that time. So he has written such a wonderful book, and did his PhD also at a very young age, and went to music. After that he went to another area, but then finally he came back to, maybe it was a good luck for the Celestial Mechanics field that he came back to this area. Now I take up the thing which he motivated me. As I can show you, you can see here n square is equal to, because n square is equal to, so this is because of his suggestion. This modifications was made. When we take the secular effects of oblateness, especially on mean motion. This was taken only on the mean motion only, mean anomaly. So NU square becomes instead of 1, 3 by 2 A1 also added. A1 is nothing but the equatorial radius square minus polar radius square by 5. So this is in the dimensionless coordinates, where AE and AP are dimensionless, equatorial polar radius. So this is how NU square and N is greater than. This is there, which because of him only this was I got this idea. And even then, this paper is not there part of my doctoral thesis, because I submitted somewhere in January only my thesis, resubmitted my thesis in January. That also I sent it by post to my friend Chawla, and Chawla submitted. He went to Dr. Bhatnagar, he got his signature, and then got from the head and then submitted. Because coming from Trivandrum and going to Delhi was also a tough task. So that is how my thesis was resubmitted. And I saw the date, it is there with me, a copy. It is submitting date is February, but this work is, I have seen, this is not there in my thesis. But this was, I got the idea from there only. Periodic orbits of first kind in the restricted three-body problem. This was done in de Nolly's variable. And de Nolly's variable, nicely dealt in restricted three-body in Zabé's book. So Zabé book was there anyway. There also in our center it was there. So I read. So Birkhoff, you see, the Birkhoff established the existence of periodic of first kind in Cartesian rectangular coordinates through analytic continuation in the polar restricted three-body. So he did, and then this is another person who was very well known, Rintostrov, 1963, and Barar. Barar was also my examiner. Studied the existence of periodic orbit of second kind through analytic continuation using respectively Cartesian rectangular coordinates and de Nolly canonical variables. By defining new canonical variables, Giasaglia extended this study to collision orbits as well. So because these people were not, they were studying because he defined those coordinates, regular coordinates, where collision was possible. Otherwise, it was so he used Levi-Civitaz conditions for that, removing the singularity, and then he studied these two collisions. These are all two-dimensional studies. First kind will come in the two-dimensional case only, first and second kind. Third kind only comes in the three-dimensional case. So these are all the people which have done. By considering the more massive primary to be an oblate spheroid with its equatorial plane coincident, then I established the existence of period in Giasaglia's canonical variables. This paper includes later effect and the existence of periodic of the first kind in de Nolly's variables. However, the effect, I have written very clearly, however, the effect of oblateness on motion of the primaries was neglected. Even then, I revised in my revised thesis, these are there, whatever I published here, but I did not publish them. Because the publication is only you have to add the mean motion, and value is entering there. But then anyway, I thought that was not. So I started with de Nolly's variable, which was not there in my original thesis. So de Nolly's variable, I studied Zabé's book, where beautifully given in Zabé. Maybe we get time, that also we will take up. But here partly it is there in my this presentation also it is there. So Hamiltonian equations, you have seen Hamiltonian equations, first order differential equations we can write. This is the Hamiltonian, n has come here. This is the mean motion, and this is the oblateness term which has come in here, which is added there. A1. So here, and then you are as Zabé has taken the more massive primary to the right side. So all my work, my whole entire thesis, I have taken this. That's why R1 is x minus mu whole square, and this is the other one. So but there are a lot of works where R1 more massive is taken to the left side. So we have to be very cautious, friends. When we want to study in which coordinate system you are studying, if you are clubbing two in a paper, you will be getting mistakes. And we should not club two together in a one paper. One paper means with every entire thing you keep. This is there, and then we are writing. This is your Hamiltonian has been there. So we have shifted it to the origin of the more massive primary. That's why this has come in this form. X1 square plus x2 square, x2 square plus y square, like that we write. So we have shifted the origin is shifted to the center of the more massive primary through this transformation. So it is shifted to this, and then we convert it to the polar coordinates. So this is all the material was available in the Zabé's book. Only thing I have to see where n has to enter. The mean motion where it has to enter, because for him n mean motion was 1. When you take his book, it is not any oblateness or anything. So so then I was looking into carefully where my fellow n has to enter there. So Hamiltonians were written in terms of this coordinate, and the new Hamiltonian has come. Brooke also, Brooke has written, two. Brooke, another student of Diprit. He produced a few students, but 2 students I know, Henrad and Brooke. Henrad was there in Belgium. He remained in Belgium, but Brooke came to University of Texas. Another great person. He did lot of periodic orbits work. Started with. In 63, he wrote his thesis, I think under Diprit only. And then he wrote 2 reports, very good reports he wrote when he in the US, 68 and 69. One on circular restricted 3 body and another in elliptic. He gave me, because when he sent me those books. And at this junction, I can tell you, once Brooke in 1985 wrote me a letter, and those days letters only were coming, emails were not there. So he said, I suppose you are the leader in restricted 3 body with oblateness, and I want to teach this oblateness, this restricted 3 body in my a course in my, somewhere he was teaching, graduate or postgraduate, somewhere I want to teach. Can you send your publications? So I was thrilled that such a big man is asking my reprints. So whatever reprints I had, I sent to him. So that was a very good remark I got from Brooke. And those people, they are honest. They will not feel that if somebody is working, they will praise them also. So this has new Hamiltonian, because this book was, both the reports are there with me. So I took care from there, studied them, and then the Hamiltonian has come. And this is all, these things are there, Sabbe. See, I have written Sabbe, generated, canonical transformation. So this is the canonical transformation, which is there in his book. It is, he has a book, means it is not all his material. He has also taken from somewhere, but it is there. It was nicely there, available to us in one place. So then you see, finally, with all that, it has come in Hamiltonian, n has come. Because my aim was to see where n is coming. So all this, and this has come, only function of momentas. With these transformations, the entire thing has come in function of the momentum, and this is the oblateness term is there. So now I wrote in this form, and then these are all the coordinates, and then I studied the periodic orbit of first kind. First kind means you put equal to E is equal to 0. Eccentricity, circular orbits in 2-body problem. When mu is non-equal to 0, whether they can be extended to the restricted 3-body problem. That is the meaning of the periodic orbits of first kind. So we have generated this solution, and then the rest of the method is you have to find the commensurability. They must be, their mean motion must have a integral. The ratio should be integral. These are all the basic conditions for the periodic orbit. All these are almost similar method, which others have applied, and I have also followed their techniques. And the main thing was the whether this determinant becomes del L, this becomes non-zero. So you can see here this determinant. These are all holonormic or analytic in the neighborhood of mu is equal to 0. So partial derivative. So this is a theorem. Implicit function theorem is there, and that with the help of this thing comes. So pure mathematics, comes here. But we are being applied mathematician. We borrow their result, and then we use it in our case. So when we put it, you see it beautifully came non-zero. You can say there's nowhere it can become 0. But that's okay. And once this prove existence of first kind, however, we have to avoid the values of A which lead to infinitesimal body close to singularity, because A should not be so where it at this point. So this becomes this thing, and these are references. An interest of Barar has done in 65 periodic orbit second kind, and he has studied Birkhoff in this paper. I think probably I located this paper at that time. So this was in first kind, and Brooke has a study. I mean, put lot of report. You know, there are two reports. This is circular restricted. There is another elliptic restricted, and this Ziazaglia did in the regularized variables. And these were my paper. This was my paper, which I already published in Ziazaglia's variables. So anyway, I didn't publish again with the, because this minor thing I don't think is of any this thing. And this was at that time. This was in my thesis, but it took celestial mechanics to used to take more time to publish. But this paper, you know, it came in this journal, Astronomy Astrophysics. And you see, at that time we never bothered what is impact factor, etc. But later on, when realized this has the maximum impact factor as far as our area things is. I don't think anybody has more than that. Even celestial mechanics on Royal Society of London, everything is less than this. 5.636. This is I just checked yesterday. 2019. This is the impact factor. So those days also, when this was published, the impact factor must be good only. So this is how this paper, because it was very clear, and it has not been referred many things because many people do not work. But today when I saw the reference who have referred, 2 or 3 references are, one I have referred myself, and 3 are, out of that 2 are very prominent people have referred, which they have done, and I have downloaded those papers. Maybe I will be studying those papers also, because probably some idea I might get, and maybe I may help somebody to. I'm not going to do a great research now, but it can be helpful to somebody who want to do further. Now the next lecture that was the first round, but even it was not in my doctoral thesis. Then periodic orbits, see, that was in 76. Now next is 80. So it was never easy because it was my first work started in my career with periodic orbits. So this remained in my back of mind always, that something periodic orbits. So periodic orbits, second kind in the restricted 3-body problem, when the more massive primary is an oblate sphere. Now that was first kind. Second kind means you are taking elliptic orbits. So you are that restriction that E is equal to 0. You are avoiding. You are avoiding. So this came in Astrophysics Space Science. They said we will publish letter to that. I said you publish anything. Only publication is important for me, not that whether it is letter to the editor or anything. So this came there. Even then it was few pages. So, or whether I have sent it letter to the that also I don't remember now. Or whether they said, I have no idea. See, now this V0 is the potential. Now, when I was reading linear and regular celestial mechanics by Stiefel and Schiffel, there I found that, of course, this is given in Danby's book also, that when you average this, you can come out or this thing only as a function of momentas only, in terms of momentas only. Then I thought that's a great idea. So then I can avoid studying first orders. I can periodic or first kind. I can go to second kind. So what I did is I took the average over the mean anomaly. L is the mean anomaly. I use this mean anomaly as the average value, and then when I did this, you can see here it became function of only momentas. So equations of motion of the same de Nolly's variables, whatever that was. But then this book helped me. This book was there with us. I was reading, and there is an interesting story. This book, when it was there when I was in Delhi University, okay, that I have to give it to Dr. Bhatnagar when I had to leave for working in Tumba, VSSC. So there, when I purchased this book, that book number, was 15195, and my staff code number was 25295. Still that staff code continues for me, 25295. And this book remained throughout my career with me. 15195, 1 you replace by 2. So that is my number, because even now our medical bills, everything which are paid, I have to, my number will be permanent till we are there, 25295. And this book number is 215195. So that was a great coincidence. And Zabe book I missed by only 2-3 numbers. Otherwise, that was also very near to the number which I was at that time. Zabe I was not reading that much, but this book I read too much, and even then too much I read, but still I might have read only 40% of this. 40 or maybe 50% or 60%. So you see, the advantage came here. I was able to make this as a function of momenta. If it is a function of momenta, the task is over. That is the thing. Then you get periodic argument of second kind. You do the same, whatever this story is same. These are all the same thing. You take L by L, etc. And final thing is you have to, because that theorem comes from there. This Jacobian, functional determinant, this Jacobian, this you have to prove non-zero. And this non-zero came. You see very clearly it comes. It comes very clearly. There is no doubt that this is minus and all these terms are plus. So this became non-zero, which establishes the existence of periodic order second kind. So that is how the references are only this. These are the references. Arendt-Stroff, because he studied periodic orbits of first kind, Barrar second kind, Giasaglia second kind. Then this I studied first kind, and then this book I got advantage of that averaging. And this is the book anyway. That book is whenever you work on restricted three-body problem, whether you are using or not, but people used to put it. So I have also put it. But even if I had not put it, it was not that much necessary, because I don't think I am taking anything from here. So now periodic order second kind in terms of Giasaglia's variable with oblate. Now you see the year 89, because when I got my doctorate, it was only with first periodic orbits of first kind. I took E is equal to 0. And then second kind was there. Then I said, but you see 80 to 89, because there was no hurry for me. So this I published in Earth, Moon, Planets. And then same thing I did again. Again, I took I took the averaging there. And that averaging I did there. But here 1 R will get reduced also. So that was also, the method is similar. Here you can see N is coming. That N has entered there. When I was in my thesis, doctoral thesis, this has entered. N has entered in Giasaglia's variables, similar to what it has entered in Denoli's variables. So it has entered here, you see. So that paper, because it's a minor thing that I don't think it qualifies for any publication, because everything was done already. So these are the new variables. N is entered. N is entered in L. In this here also it has entered. A number of places the mean motion has entered. So this is done, and then this value has come by that making that averaging. This value has come, and then again the same method, second kind. You use the Jacobian thing, Barrar and Giasaglia. They use only this functional determinant, and that I used, and then this has become, and this became again non-zero. So that's how, and the references are only those. Sharma, and I put my doctoral thesis also, because why I have put it, because I have not published the other thing anywhere. With the modified thing, I did not publish, but it was a part in this thesis. So that's why probably I have put this thing also. Levi-Civita uses that transformation. That's why Giasaglia has used it. Barrar anyway, second kind he is doing. He is doing first kind. I don't know whether he is doing second kind or first kind. Now I don't remember. But he has another good paper he has, but very complicated paper, not very easy to understand. His paper was only 2 pages paper, but very beautiful. He has done on oblateness also. One on oblateness also. Barrar also was a good celestial mechanist who had done a lot of very good work he carried out. Now I did periodic orbits of third kind in the restricted three-body problem with oblateness. So this in 89. So probably this and this are not 89. This paper and this paper. When did I did? Okay, that doesn't matter. So this paper I submitted there, periodic orbits of third kind in restricted three-body problem with oblateness. You see, the research, once you know the art, how to do things, then your mind can work. Okay, this is how I can do like this. So then your research capabilities, they enhance. So you see, this became an interesting paper, and the here other references were there, Godas and Jeffries. They did third kind work, and then Devotion has done some periodic conditions. Devotion is a Russian work, and then I did Bhatnagar's study, because I generalized, his thing. Dr. Bhatnagar has generalized Giasaglia's work to 3 dimension for a mu, small quantity of this thing. So I have also put oblateness there, and put with oblateness all those equations, and that's how this work was carried out. So here this looked interesting. Equations now, 3-dimensional equations of motion are written in Hamiltonian. V0 is there. Now this is the thing. This is given, very clearly. All these ideas I got from the Stiefel and Stieffel's book, Linear and Regular System Mechanics. In one of my lecture earlier also, I have showed you how that with oblateness he has done it. So not that he is there. These are given in another textbook also, but where I have I used from here. Denby also has carried out these things, and McKeskey also has dealt in these things there in his book. So here, 0 to pi with respect to mean anomaly. Now it's a three dimension, third one, and this is integrable. You are not making any series or any this thing. So you have to integrate. R you can write in terms of A into 1 minus E cos C. That formula you can use. L is the mean anomaly, and N is the mean motion. That's it. And now when we integrate this, it simplifies. And you see, this becomes function of momentas only. P1, P1, they are the momentas. Q1, Q2 are the angular frequencies. So this has become a function of momentas now. Okay. So now we study periodic orbit circumference. So there is no condition I had put here. In third kind also you can put E is equal to 0 or E non-equal to 0, but I have not put any non-zero, E is equal to 0, I did not put anything. So this became very general in nature. And when you see Zabe's book in canonical variables, Zabe has written nicely canonical in 3-dimension also and 2-dimension also. You have a linear combination of these canonical variables. You can have another canonical transformations there. So I understood those things. So I also use them. So these are all the partial derivatives which from the equations of motion you can write that, and then you can have the solution described by equation 4 will be periodic if Q1 var, Q2 var, and Q3 var have commensurable frequency. These are all the conditions for periodicity. Other periodicity will not come. So this the Q1 var, Q2 var, and Q3 var, this we should have commensurable frequency. These are coming here. So now, if we follow Jeffrey, now because Jeffrey has done third kind, Jeffrey 65. This paper is also in Astronomical Journal. And Zabe, this is he has written in his book. It is sufficient for the analytic continuation to be valid if the functional determinant this Q1, Q2, Q3, and T, P1, P2 not equal to 0 at T by 4. So P1, P1 are the initial condition for P1 var, P2 var, and these are the solutions of the two-body problem. So Q1, Q2, Q3 are holonormic in the neighborhood of mu is equal to 0. The partial derivatives occurring in 5 may be computed for mu is equal to 0. So this is the thing. These are all the partial derivatives, which I have made it little small, but these are all we have calculated. And then where beta is this, and after simplifications, this comes in this form. Now you see when you put this becomes 0, for this equal to this becomes 0. Now only I have my all the studies have been because if you take higher order of oblateness, you will get into many other complications. So we keep our study only to linear terms in oblateness. Only A1 terms we take, or J2 terms you can say. You call in terms of that parameter. So this is the thing. Now when it becomes 0, when this fellow becomes 0. Now when this fellow becomes 0, because we can write in terms of the inclination, because we can P1, P2 in terms of our orbital inclination, this becomes 0. Now 2 minus 15 cos square I is equal to 0. This is not equal to 0. So cos I is equal to square root of 2 by 15. Or if you say because cos is there, you will have two solutions, first quadrant and second quadrant. So you got the 68 point this and this from here. So these singularities were there. At these singularities, you do not have a periodic solution. Otherwise, you have a periodic solution here. Now, supposing you enter with your with this, then you can use another coordinates. To avoid the singularity is 6 in D, we utilize the canonical transformation. And these are all given in Zabé's book. When you see in the later half, three-dimensional restricted three-body problem, where he has studied, where he has discussed all these things. So these combination, Pinecure variables, etc., a lot of things are there. So this is also one of the canonical transformation. So when we use this, then your R, the Hamiltonian becomes in this form. And where beta is, I'm writing beta for this one. And again, this fellow has to be evaluated. These are all partial derivatives. You evaluated them, and you substitute and simplify them. And these are all the partial derivatives. Long time. That time we did not have maxima, etc. Now you can do very easily. You have the handle on the maxima, mathematica, and so many things. So all this work, which took me a lot of calculation time, you can do it without much problem. So these are all the partial derivatives. All the partial derivatives, changing to de Nolly's variables now, because after that we wanted to see how they look. So when this is the one, this is equal to, now in terms of the inclination we know G by H by G is I, so that all you can divide by G. So this will be cos square I minus cos I, and this. So this is equal to 0. Now it has these roots, plus minus these roots. So one is plus root, one will be plus, and one will be minus root. So the minus will give you in the second quadrant, and plus will give you in the first quadrant. So we got the roots here in this one. No, one of the root will not, we cannot have 1 by 6 is there. Okay, fine. So these two roots. So this is the another singularity. So other singularity, when you can avoid, you can get this. Then I want to check whether another when you use another canonical variable, whether what happens, whether the singularities are being repeated or something else is happening. So then I use this canonical transformation. These are all canonical transformations. So in this, our R naught is equal to, without, when mu is not with mu equal to 0 only, you have to take the terms. So this comes in this form, restricting to linear terms in A1, D comes in this form. And again, you put this equal to 0 and convert them to de Nolly these variables. So you get again same what we got earlier. So lastly, the use of canonical one. So I thought this has been once as written. Let me see the other one also gets repeated. So I use one more canonical set, and then that provides the Hamiltonian in this form. And then again, taking the only linear term in A1, we get D, and converting to de Nolly's variable in this form. So again we got, so two canonical variables gave the same solution, another two gave the same solution. So that is how we studied the periodic orbits of third kind. Here these are the references, Professor Bhatnagar, because that he studied third kind there. And Devotion anyway is a book which has those conditions written there. Of course, I have never seen the book, but from the literature we have found Professor Chaudhary has actually knows Russian, and he has followed this book. So in his papers, these are all referred. Giasaglia anyway, the periodic orbits of second kind, and Godard's periodic orbits of third kind. And Jaffrey periodic orbit third kind, and this anyway here I studied periodic orbits third kind. This I told last time, and this is anyway my doctoral thesis where I have studied those things. And then this is my that is the book where I did that averaging thing. And this is the book. All canonical those transformations are given here in this. There are other books also where these canonical transformations are given, but you see, it was the first book carefully written by Zabé. Zabé said he took 3 years to write the book. He dedicatedly spent 3 years to write his book. So the book, that's why book is even then in 1967, but it's still the book is there is no equal to that. If somebody one book has come, the people have copied. They have written in 2 volumes. Part of these things from his book they have. I mean, they have copied intelligently and they have done something. But well, that is not. But his book is a great book. There is no doubt. So with that, this is the today.